Video. Today we're doing NFL preseason player props here on PrizePicks. Before I get started though, there is a link in the description below to sign up for PrizePicks. PrizePicks will match 100% of your first deposit. Also, there's a Discord link and a Patreon link that are in the description of this video as well. But let's get into it, you guys. 3 total NFL preseason player props here tonight. We coming off a night where we hit 2 of 3. Davis Mills under 140.5 passing yards. He hit that, only had 58. Dameon Pierce under 44.5 rushing plus reception yards. He had 37. And Robbie Gould under or more than 1.5 field goals made. He had 0. Didn't even see the field. The Niners scored 0 points last night. So again, I did a power play on this one. 2 of 3, still pretty good. We've been continuing to do pretty well here in the NFL preseason. But I'm going to give 3 total player props that I do like. It's important to know that there is a ton of variance here, a ton of volatility. NFL preseason, like, it doesn't get more volatile than this year. Really comes down to amount of snaps players play. Just a ton of variants that are out of players' control, really. But I'm going to give 3 props that I do like. This board is kind of tight. A lot of player props have already bumped. I'm going to give 3 props that I like. Let's get into it. So the first play is going to be Ian Book. I'm going to take his over 115.5. Now, this one is a little bit scary in my opinion. One that, it's just tough with these NFL preseason plays because you really don't know. But Ian Book here, he threw 16 for 28 and had 113 against the Packers in this week 2 of the preseason, right? He played the entire game, 16 for 28, 113. He had 49 rushing yards as well, which is pretty good, right? So he only has fantasy score, passing yards and rushing yards. I'm going to take his passing yards though. Ian Book is probably going to play this entire game from what I've been reading here, which is obviously ideal. I mean, you can see this article here. It's all on Ian Book to make the final roster for the Saints. Now, this is pretty much, you can see here, the preseason finale for the Saints. We'll see them go up against the Chargers. It remains to be seen if Winston will get any playing time, but make no mistake about it, it's all on Ian Book to prove his case and earn a spot for the Saints' final roster. Now, Andy Dalton is obviously going to be Jameis Winston's backup this season, so there's no guarantee here that the Saints will carry 3 quarterbacks heading into 2022. It's imperative that Book not only shows up, but delivers. So he needs to play well. He's probably fighting for his spot on the Saints tonight, in my opinion. I think he could still get traded to another team. I think he does have some potential as an NFL quarterback. But in this spot here against the Chargers, he really needs to play well. I think in this bounce back game here for Book, because he needs to play well, because it's preseason week 3, I don't expect the Chargers to play anyone that is at the top of any depth chart. And coming off the game, I mean, Ian Book, if he throws the ball 28 times tonight, I think 115.5 is pretty fair to say he could hit the over on this one, right? So I'm taking the over on this one. This is the one I probably feel least confident in my opinion, but I'm taking the over on Ian Book 115. If he plays the whole game, 115.5 is pretty generous in my opinion. The next one is going to be Zamir White, and I'm going to take his under 35 rushing plus reception yards. Now, Zamir, they just cut Kenyon Drake because Zamir White has arrived. He looking like he's going to be in that backfield rotation along with Josh Jacobs. And even in this last game, preseason week 2 here against the Dolphins, Zamir White only had 5 carries for 8 yards. He scored a touchdown, which is why I'm staying away from his fantasy score. And then he had 1 target for 4 yards. Right, so he had 8 and 4. He played well in the previous 2 preseason games, but because he is now in that backfield, they cut Kenyon Drake. I definitely don't see them playing Zamir White that many snaps tonight. Him and Josh Jacobs are going to be those 2 running back by committees, and now Josh McDaniels, who is the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, he's historic. He has a history of playing 2 running back committee backfields, throughout his career with the Patriots. So I'm taking the under on Zamir White, 35.5 rush plus reception yards, under or less than. And then the last prop is going to be a punt, and it's going to be Michael Dickson over 4.5. Now, the Seahawks are starting Geno Smith, but apparently Drew Lock's going to be playing the majority of the game. But regardless, the offense for Seattle this entire preseason has been rough. And we can see here Michael Dickson in this game against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the preseason. He had, Michael Dickson had 5 punts, right? So over on this one in the game against the Steelers. In their most recent game, which Geno Smith started, Michael Dickson in that game had 10 punts. 10. So his line is 4.5. He's hit the over his last 2 games. I just think the Seahawks offense is kind of all over the place, which will, give Michael Dickson opportunities to punt the ball. So I'm taking the over on this one. 4.5. Michael Dickson punts. Zamir White under rush plus reception yards 35.5, and then Ian Book over 115.5. So again, you guys, ton of variance here, just so much volatility. We have been doing pretty well though, but just keep in mind that there's not going to be these plays here. NFL preseason, especially week 3, it's tough. It is extremely volatile, so keep that in mind, you guys. Tail lightly, bet lightly as well. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like on this video, and as always, you guys have a great day.